do like what Ben does, and then Ben did this. Hello, everyone. Welcome to a second episode of Diamond Cast for 2026.
Hello. Yes.
Today, we're going to be talking about something that could make us have a little bit of a debate, hopefully. We're going to talk about nostalgia. Everyone likes a bit of nostalgia.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know, a little bit of indulgence in the past, or things that made you feel good when you were younger and that kind of bring back those old memories. We love a little bit of, sometimes it's a smell or a sound or something that takes you right back to a place, or a photograph, and you can really imagine yourself there. And sometimes nostalgia can be something that's quite safe and quite kind of cocoon you in your little bubble of safety, where you need to go back to a safer time. Sometimes it can make you feel like kind of a bit of sense of purpose and identity of where you belong, where you came from, your roots and things like that. But the question I really want to ask today is, does nostalgia hold us in the past and prevent us from succeeding in the future?
Mm-hmm. Have you got the sound for that?
I've got.
Yes, it's the closest we've got, really, isn't it? It's a good subject. What prompted you to think of this one, Nat?
A few of my topic choices are based on things I'm actually writing, because I've started writing my book. So it's sometimes when you're thinking about things that you wrote when you were young, very young. So I started writing this when I was 13. It doesn't necessarily have to kind of follow that thing that you always dreamed it would be, because you thought it was something when you were young. And so is the nostalgic thinking, does it keep you in the past as an artist, as a musician? Whereas, or does it kind of help? It's different with music, because nostalgic music is something else for people. It depends what era you grew up in. I think everyone thinks that the music that they grew up with is the best music in the world. That's another Instagram meme. You think it is? Well, there you go. But I think Ben might disagree.
Same age.
I think that there's. I heard that apparently we all, when you hit 30, you stop listening to new music, right? That's just a blanket concept, right?
That's like that. I don't think that's true.
But that's something that I've heard, and I think there's some credence in it. Perhaps your input goes down considerably. The main input for your musical interest is, say, between the ages of, I don't know, 6 and 26 or something, of what that's the music that you get into, that you identify. And then after that, you hear new stuff. You think, oh, that's kind of cool. But you never have quite the same relationship as you do with that stuff that you hear within those first sort of 26 years of your life.
That is true.
I think what you listen to when you're 14 is the band that sort of you get into. That's
14. Just that one.
The hit age. No, it's like 14.
Interesting.
15. Because it's where you're going through puberty and stuff, so your like brain's developing, and that's the sort of then she's onto that point as well.
So you're forming.
I don't know if that's true, but
your brain is forming its connections to things that are outside of you and your family, and things that you're discovering, and so that's when you form those things. Because it's like, yes, I can appreciate new music now. And I've listened to a lot of new music, but what would any of it get me running down a staircase onto a dance floor, skidding on my knees?
Well, Diamond Black would.
Well, yes, Diamond Black, exactly. That's the thing. Like, would you like what activates that thing in your head that makes you like have to get to a dance floor right now?
Yeah, and I think that's a valid barometer by which to measure it. Is, does it do that to you? I think what Adam said about that era of 14 years old, you're defining yourself as a person, you're defining your difference, your identity. Yeah. I'm not like them, I'm like me, and me likes this. Me likes this.
Me likes this.
And it's, that's the important part. So I think those bands that you like in that particular era, you will always have a connection with them in some way. I'm surrounded now by cups and placemats and stuff of like my core bands that I was interested in.
Tidy your desk.
I know, right? It's just like thousands of them. Now I've got this great cup for Christmas, which is, it's all the different Def Leppard cassettes on a cup, and that's
literally the best cup for you,
right? And I think that's the case in point. If like I'm still so like connected and enamored with this, particularly as it's cassettes. It's not just a Def Leppard cup. These are the side. That is a view that I had as a kid. Those cassettes lined up. So looking at that, it makes me feel nostalgic in the sense of, oh yeah, I remember being a kid and listening to that stuff. It gives me a sense of grounding, of this is where I've come from. And it makes me feel inspired because I feel like I want to create. I want to have a stack of albums. I want to produce that. So it's, in some ways, yeah, nostalgia can be a multifaceted thing. If it can, I can look at that and I can feel sometimes a bit sort of bittersweet of, oh, you know, everything was so simple back then when I just had my tapes. But because it's in this new form, which is a gift from my sister, actually, it brings a new life to it. It makes it something for now and something that's very much in the present. And like approaching each day with this cup as like, okay, I'm having my coffee in my cup, and this is sort of representing. Start your day with a cup of ambition. So I think that's an interesting artifact that can hold both aspects of nostalgia, of it being something you feel a bit sad about the past, but you feel a sense of identity which inspires you onwards.
I think what was interesting about what you said is that you felt inspired by that stack of cassettes when you were young, and so it makes you feel inspired now because you're thinking about how you felt inspired when you were young. So the nostalgia there is not just about, oh, I like these cassettes. It's like I want to create as well. Did you have that feeling of wanting to create all the time? Did that stack of cassettes make you feel that way when you saw them in your room when you were a kid?
Yeah, because I think I was very young at this point, maybe 10 or 11, and I wanted to create. I just about started playing, and I wanted to create, but the way that I would create back then would be more in homage to to Def Leppard. So I would draw the front covers of the albums so I could make posters on my wall. Because I didn't have the posters, I couldn't afford the posters, so I just make them instead. And so that was the sort of creativity that I think if you're inspired by something, you want to extend the world of that thing that you're inspired by creating something from it. I guess it's like fan fiction or fan art or whatever. That was like a primitive form for me of fan art, is that I'm trying to draw the front cover and it will take me a couple of days with my felt tips and stuff. So I think... yeah, it's that sense of, at the time, I didn't just like the music because I liked consuming it. I wanted to also, as a catalyst, to create something. And then I think a bit later on, when I started songwriting, it became an inspiration in a different way.
Why do you think nostalgia could be such a powerful thing for people in general, not just for you, but for why is it such a high economy right now? I think for people in their sort of 30s and 40s, it definitely is. A lot of harking back to the 80s and 90s is quite. I mean, Stranger Things did really well for a reason. Why do you think that's so powerful for particularly now? Because why?
The 90s were awesome, that's why.
The 90s were awesome.
Well, there's a theory that Andrei Tarkovsky, the filmmaker, made. He said that we like nostalgia because the past appears to be solid and concrete and we can understand it, almost two-dimensional. You look back on the past and you go, oh yeah, I remember that was cool. You don't remember all the nuances. You don't remember how actually maybe some of it was quite bad and frustrating and anxiety-inducing. You just think, oh, that was cool. Whereas...
No, I do, but I forgive it. Because the rest of it was so cool.
But of course, at the time, the past wasn't the past; it was the present, and so it was actually filled with.
It was awesome then too.
Sorry,
I thought it was awesome then too.
Yeah, but
I definitely did think it was awesome then. I think
I know I'm undermining your point, but I thought it was awesome
kids
then.
in the 90s knew that this was really a really good time, though. Didn't like? I've definitely got a sense of like, you know, all the parents used to complain about how everything was all kidsy and commercialized, and I had that like definite thing above me of like parents going, everything's all, you know, cartoonish, and I was like, yeah, it's for us now, it's our time. Like I definitely
still watch the same
felt that.
sitcom, but still watch the same cartoons.
well, isn't it that may be something to do with age? That if you were this age in the 90s, you wouldn't think the 90s were awesome.
Yeah, maybe.
I'd like to hear from people who were in their 30s and 40s in the 90s.
I'll ask my mum when we get off.
Well, no, because your mum's probably got the same nostalgic experiences from like the 70s and the 80s,
She had me as a kid, so she probably thought it was even better.
Well, yeah, because she got to experience the 90s from the lens of being a kid, like through your
that's true.
eyes. So
It
then
just happens to be
she's got,
family, yeah.
well, so she's got like a sort of double whammy of cool nostalgia, because she's got the 90s through the eyes of her child, and the 70s and the 70s through the eyes of a teenager, right? Which is obviously really good.
Pretty good combo.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about the 70s as being like full of blackouts, and lots of, everyone was really poor and all that kind of, was really, really cold because there was no heating and things like that.
Yeah, I think the culture was wicked, but like it wasn't a
Yeah.
very good time to actually, quite boring time to actually.
But they don't mind because the culture was so good. Like, that's what I mean. We diminish the bad stuff about our nostalgic thoughts and think of the good stuff only.
I don't know. Every time I've ever said to my mum and dad, like, "Oh, the 70s are wicked. I'd love to live with them," they're all like, "No, you wouldn't." So
Why did they say no, you wouldn't?
Because of like blackouts and kids' shit it was and stuff like that.
Because you
And there's
don't have
nothing-
as many
and there's nothing to do with
comforts.
the telly turned off and everything shut on Sunday and stuff like that.
The telly turned off on Sundays.
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
What do you mean blackout? It's power cuts.
Yeah, power cuts. Yeah.
Power cuts, yeah.
Right.
Like, there was loads of power cuts in the 70s, like across the UK. I don't know if this is the case in other countries, but I think it was very common in the
It's
UK.
quite a bad time. Lots of strikes and stuff like that. Not very good time.
Yeah.
But like great music and fashion.
Well, maybe it was a result of that. Maybe it
Yeah.
was a result of, because people felt like they were living in difficult times, there was greater art, and they found more solace and more solidarity in creativity and being part of a tribe of music subculture. Whereas it's not so much the case maybe now.
Oh, I've got this is the killer question. Do you think that because stuff was harder, or times were harder in the past, so people made this, like, gravitated towards solidarity and connection, so they made better art and music and films because they needed some sort of escapism or something to unite them? That why we have kind of arguably less good stuff coming out, like, in the past, I don't know, 20 years compared to what we perceive then to be good. Do you think that is because we have a lot more comforts and conveniences that have been afforded to us in the past 20 years compared to back in the 70s? Like, there's no blackouts and strikes and things. We pretty much have TV 24 hours a day and on 50 million channels, or the internet. Like, since the internet came out, do you think that because of that, people have stopped creating things to kind of unite each other?
Yeah, I think a lot of in music as well. A lot of scenes are reactions to the ones that came previously. So if you think the 60s is all like free love and hippies, that's quite different to the 50s, which is very like formal and rock and roll and suits and stuff. Then you get 70s, which is glam and flamboyance, which is the opposite of hippie stuff. And then even with like grunge, it's a reaction to the excesses of 80s rock. So I think a lot of scenes are birthed out of like a reaction to the one that came before it. I think at the minute there hasn't been a scene to react against for a long time. So I think that's why there's not an overarching style to the current eras.
Yeah, because there were very clear, very clear, these are the scenes that are happening in those eras. What's the last scene that you remember as being like a time when there was a really clear
I think like in the
division
UK,
of scenes?
Indie. Mid
So
2000s, mid to late 2000s.
Right. And what sort of bands was that?
Libertines, and
Strokes,
Strokes,
Featureheads, Kaiser Chiefs.
Okay, cool.
That kind of thing.
like leather jacket, jangly guitar, played up here.
Stripy shirts.
And then what was
Kate Moss, Doherty, that kind of thing.
the
Yeah.
opposition to that?
Well, I think that was actually like indie is very much 3 chords, play very simple, like
Play it up high like this.
play up high, no distortion to jangly stuff. That's quite a reaction because before that it would have been like new metal and Limp Bizkit kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it's quite
so
taking,
the scenes just
taking it
got
back to
closer.
simple garage style.
Instead of being every decade, they kind of got closer, like every 3 to 5 years. So actually, you know what? I'm going to backtrack on something I said earlier, because I remember my parents complaining about the 90s because it wasn't the 60s.
Right.
And then I remember them saying, because they're older, so I remember them saying in the 90s, like, oh, we don't have a scene anymore. It's not the same. Everything's like, there's no culture in the 90s. They've complained about it being not as good as the 60s and the 70s, but also they didn't recognise at the time that it was cool, because it was, I guess they'd aged out of things that were cool. Sorry, mum and dad. But I guess then you don't realize it until after, and then when it gets to the 2000s and everything changes and everyone's wearing those low slung jeans and like watching Paris Hilton, you start to think, oh, actually last decade was wicked. Maybe it's that. Because we're talking about the culture, not just music, but like everything. Like indie culture comes also from fashion. It comes from, you know, Kate Moss and Pete Doherty hanging out together on the front cover of every newspaper every day, right? Like it comes from what you see. It's what do you call that? What's that phrase? Like something programming? Like,
I talked about this. I heard that MTV finished broadcasting in the UK last month.
did.
Forever.
yes.
So that's the end of an era. That unified scenes, because everyone, as you'd see what the bands are wearing and what everyone's wearing on MTV, music videos would influence quite a lot, I think.
Do you think also there's an element whereby older generations resent what's currently fashionable because it's the younger people are doing it, and there's an element of almost jealousy of like they wish they were younger as well and
Dude,
part of
why
it.
see fucking people walking around with bloody socks and flip flops all the time, right? And they're like, they think that's
sliders.
cool, and I'm like, that's like the most you could never do that when we were growing up. That's the worst fashion faux pas you could ever have. It's
What
like,
you mean, like younger generation?
Yeah.
Just like wearing them out in general, not even like to the shops.
Like boys in groups of lads, right? And it's like, if you wore that in 2003, all your boys would have taken the
They'd
piss
beat
out
you
of you
up.
so much you had to go home.
So yeah, maybe that's the reaction.
And you certainly wouldn't have got to talk to many girls.
Yeah, because it's the one thing you could never do when we were younger. It's like maybe that's the reaction.
Socks and sandals.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
it's like
maybe
what
that's
people's
it.
dads wore, isn't it? Like, and you'd laugh at them for wearing it.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's because in the late 2000s, going into like the early 2011, 12, there was a big movement of like the glam rock resurgence, and maybe there was this sense of, right, we're gonna, as you said, reactionary. Let's take it back to basics. Let's take it back to like shapeless corduroy trousers and and sandals. I remember being in Belgium around about 2019 and noticing that a lot of the young people were dressing like this, and I thought, what's happening? Is this some odd European explosion of like early 70s your granddad vibe? But then of course it became very popular, and you sort of see it everywhere now.
Yes, I don't know if there's a fashion seems to have ghosted and faded, but I don't know, they're not really tied to music like they used to be.
That's true.
There isn't a music that goes along with the socks and sandals.
It always was a music and a fashion together, right? So we're talking about like rock and stuff like that, but in the same time you had hip hop, and that really had a fashion as well, right? Or still does. And so you I think at school it was like people picked one or the other, and then then Limp Bizkit came out, and it was like, oh, cool. So like yeah, you could it was always tied to fashion. Nowadays I don't know like what music and fashion is connected. I mean, I don't really know the answer to this question. Maybe some younger people could chime in here and help.
Neither way. I mean, obviously subgenres have their own style, like like our fans, goth fans.
Yeah, and that's sort of timeless.
But
I
there's
would
not
say.
like
I think goth is timeless.
culture-wide one.
But I mean,
Everything's just divided into a lot of subgenres, sub-scenes.
they've subbed, and then also so is time. Instead of it being decade and it's by, as I said, by like 3 to 5 years, it got smaller. I'd say around the turn of the millennium. So now it's like maybe it's every, because we've got TikTok and stuff. Maybe it's like every year. It
Yeah, every
changes.
trend.
But back to what Ben just said. You said about the older generations maybe being resentful of the younger generations. When you're describing these people you saw with these fashions that you didn't like, that were just terrible, you didn't sound like you were jealous of the younger people for liking them. You sounded just like, like what is going on with the world. I think that's how my parents felt about the 90s.
Maybe.
But
I think, maybe it's also just a feeling of being out of touch as an older person and thinking, right, I don't know what's going on anymore, and that going, well, that's because I'm not young anymore, and that's why the resentment comes. It's like, I think I don't agree with this fashion, but everybody's doing it, and I'm the minority now.
There we go. You won't change my mind on this one.
It's inexplicable, this fashion, like socks and sandals, like at least fashion had logic when we were younger. I don't know, but I mean, I can't talk. Neither can you two. We all still dress how we used to dress.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah, I remember.
we would come up a good time and just stuck with it.
I remember when I was about 20, noticing that I looked at my granddad and I thought he wears exactly what he wore when he was 20, right? He wears the same, like just the slacks and the shirt and the tank top jumper, right? That's what he wore when he was 20. And I was looking around me at the time and I was looking at all the skaters and I was, do you remember at the time there was a...
Our skate scene was good too.
Everyone wore backpacks all the time. It was like part of your fashion was you had a backpack, and people used to have their skateboards down at the back of the to like keep it in place. Big trousers, huge like wallet chains. I remember thinking, when those guys are 50, are they still going to be dressing like that? And the fact is, yes, they are, because I've seen them.
The actual guys.
I've seen people of that generation who still are dressing like that, and I can't talk because I still dress the same way as I did in my like mid-20s. So when I was like,
now from the skateboard.
Genuine question for people who are watching this: if you dress differently to when you were in your 20s, can you comment and tell us when that happened and how?
Yeah, like what was the transition? Did you suddenly go, right, now I'm this age, I must stop wearing that and start wearing this?
I feel like when people get certain jobs, they might change, you know, they might dress a little bit more conservative or a bit more corporate, you know, because the job requires it. Not like in a rule book, but I think if everyone else dresses that way, you kind of... But then I think people kind of adapt it back to their natural style. Like, I mean, I definitely did this once and I ended up sort of thinking, well, if I have to wear something smart, I can wear like a pinstripe suit. And then start adding in like a fluffy shirt or something, you know, do you know what I mean? So it's sort of, you bring it back to whatever is your core style, which I think you establish in that early part of your life. Like you said, Ben, about your granddad, I always used to wonder when I was little, when I was young, right, early 90s, I would look at all the old ladies and I'd be like, why do they all have the same haircut from the 40s? what is this? Is this like an old lady trend? Is there a trend for, you know, is that how we all supposed to dress when we get old, right? But now, I mean, people, I said old ladies, well, the people I was looking at were probably about 50.
Yeah, everyone looked
because
older.
in the 90s, everyone who was 50 looked really, really much older than they do now. And like, if you watch any game show from like an old game show from on YouTube from the 90s, and someone goes, "Oh, hello, I'm like whatever name," and they say, "Oh, I'm 32." It's like, you're not 32, you're 68.
It is kind of true, isn't it? It's like you'll watch something and it'll be like Martin Dreyer, a systems analyst from Colchester, 31. It's like, you look 60.
Yeah. It's like, you know, I know people who are 60 who look younger than you now, right? and it's I don't know how that works. I don't know why that is. Are we healthier? Is it because there's no smoking anymore in public places? Is that what made people look older? I think it's the corduroy trousers, Ben. I think it's the fashion. I think it's to do with like the things. I mean, you've got the kids now that you go to any vintage shop on Brick Lane and it's all clothes from like the early 2000s. It's clothes I actually still own.
I think we're allowed to stay young a lot more. Like, it's not weird for us to have loads of action figures on the wall. As a grown adult, I know, or Dalek, but like, you know, if we were like an adult in the 90s and you still had like actual toys for when you were a kid on the wall, they'd be like, grow up. So I think
you get shamed out of it by your friends, don't you?
Yeah. Was it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's far more tolerance for stuff for basically holding on to, or not holding on to, maintaining things that you like in that way as you go into adulthood. Whereas perhaps for our parents' generation, it was a bit more, look, you have to be a role model to your children now. You have to be like this, and when I think of my parents in their 20s and 30s, they already seem like just was 20s. They all seem like adults and just grown ups, and that those sort of childhood interests had been pushed aside. But yeah, I think people are stay younger for longer now. I think.
What do you think's kept us young?
Well, but think about it. I mean, it's just a logical progression of humankind, isn't it? Because people used to live till they were like 33 in the 1600s, and that was it.
I guess we can still watch and have access to the things we grew up with as well, because of, you know, got the internet.
Yeah, they couldn't in those days.
That's a really good point, because we are able, because the brilliant thing now is you can go, oh, remember that TV show I used to watch when I was 7? I'll see if it's on YouTube. Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Whereas, you don't have to describe it from your hindsight. You can show someone, and then either it ticks off a nostalgic thing in their head and they're like, oh, I just unlocked a memory that I never thought of again, right? Whereas if they hadn't you know, if you had to describe it like in the 70s to someone, then they'd have gone, no, I don't
describing
know,
something
you know.
from the 50s or something. Yeah.
You know, like, or you'd have described it, or you'd have shared the hindsight, but not shared the actual core memory. But now you can share the core memory.
Hey, you can actually say, this is the thing that I liked.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, I think people just generally are, maybe we're just healthier and we live better lives, as you said. And a few hundred years ago, people didn't live beyond their 50s, did they? So, yeah, I think it's token to that, really. And also, I think there's, as with music genres, I think there's less pressure to be a certain thing as there used to be. In the 80s and 90s, it was, you are either this or you're that in terms of your musical tribe. Whereas now, people who come to our shows, you look into the audience and you've got every different subgenre of music, of alternative music represented in some way. But it's not like, well, you shouldn't be in this show because everybody's, maybe someone's got a mohawk, maybe someone's got dreads, maybe someone's dressed indie, or someone's dressed industrial. It doesn't matter because it's alternative culture.
Like us.
As long as they like us, yes. Not as long as
alternatives always been. It's like, as long as you like the music, you're in. It doesn't matter what you look like.
Yeah. Although I guess, as we were saying, you know, the difference with the strength of subgenres like punk and new romantic and
that was great
and stuff. From my understanding of it, it was part of being a tribe, and that you almost couldn't hang out with people if they weren't part of your musical tribe. I don't know how true that is, if that's been romanticized a bit over time, but there was definitely a clearer division between, because it gave you a sense of meaning, I guess, a sense of identity.
I think there was at school. Like, you had to kind of prove your knowledge of certain bands if you wanted to hang out with people that wore the certain clothes. But I think that might just, I don't know if adults did that as well, because like at school, teenagers, it was very much like, oh, if you heard the new whatever, and they'd bring out the CD, or, you know, what's your favorite track on this album, and if you can't say it, then it's like imposter.
Yeah,
I never did that to anyone, but I experienced it.
Yeah, there was a certain badge of honor, maybe of sorry, I just remembered something. Do you remember that like really classic poster in the 90s of the I can't remember his name. He was a political activist. He was a Chilean political activist.
Che Guevara.
Yes, Che. And one of my friends had this picture on the wall of him, this poster of it, and another friend came around, and this other friend was someone who was kind of always trying to prove that he was part of the scene, but he kind of didn't really know anything about it. And he was like, "Oh, is that the lead singer of Rage Against the Machine?" And I just never forgot that. And it was just like, it was so on point for him, like trying to like, look, I know stuff. But you're right, Nat. It was about, do you know stuff? Therefore, if you know stuff about this genre, you're in. Do you have, I've got this really unexpected T-shirt of this band. You've got the really obvious one.
I've got an actual vintage one from the 80s.
Yeah. Or like
Yours is from Topshop.
It's like, I've got this album. Yeah, but have you got the Japanese edition with the bonus tracks? Yeah. Then you're not as much of a fan as me.
That's true. I was a girl in my class that had the Japanese edition of everything, and like we used to go around her house and watch them. It's anime and stuff, but still, she was cool.
Amazing.
But yeah, no, you definitely want to kind of seem like you know this stuff. But then I also kind of wanted other people who didn't know. I was like, listen to this, it's really good. And then people would listen to it and look at me like I was on another planet, like like it's not cool. And I was like, it is, like my music. And they wouldn't. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it was an important part. I remember two very clear moments from being a kid and walking around listening to my, as they called it in Bristol, jitter music. And on two different occasions, these unpleasant ne'er-do-wells coming up to me and going, "Ear, what you listening to, mind?" And I was like, okay, well, this is what, like, terrified. I was like, this is what I'm listening to. And one time they were like, "Ear, this ain't too fucking bad, mind." And it was like, oh, thank God. And then another time it was just like, they were like, "Ear, this is so bad." And it was this kind of terrifying, like, are you worthy as a human based on the music you're listening to? We are going to judge you. This is you standing trial based on what you like. And that what you like equates to your worth and whether or not we're going to bully you.
Yeah, that's exactly whether you're beaten up or not.
Yes, exactly. Basically what you like. That's how, I don't know if school's still that way, but it's based on completely what you like. And you have to stand trial at a random moment when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, I remember one of the real terrifying moments, and I don't know why the teacher did this, because this was like this 101, let's alienate the kids. He said, right, I want to go around the class, and everybody has to say what their favourite television programme is. And we were all about 12, and it was this terrifying, like coming around to you, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? Because I will be judged forever on what I say.
What do you say?
I remember what I said, but I remember that you started running out of options because everybody had already said everything.
Do you have to say something different to the last person? You can't say
it wasn't specified if you had to do that, but you felt like you were then copying if you just said the same thing. And I remember
bottom, and then I'd probably got thrown out.
I just said random podcast or something I know that the other kids wouldn't watch and that they had.
See, but that's it. You were thinking about it. It mattered. You couldn't just go, This Morning with Anne and Nick. You had to be like, no.
Well, you definitely got your ass kicked if you said
yes, Pebble Mills. You're like, Randall and Hopkirk Deceased. Brilliant.
That's favourite.
Yeah.
Like, that's
favourite.
brilliant that you would have said that.
Yeah. But that was a programme from 1969 and 1970, right?
That
was
they
only
repeated on
made
BBC Two
on
in
Bravo.
the 90s.
It was on
right,
Bravo.
okay, right.
That's where I used to watch it. But yeah, so you don't remember what you said, Ben? This is annoying.
I probably said Red Dwarf. I probably said Red Dwarf because I love Red Dwarf, and it was kind of safe to say Red Dwarf.
People thought you were cool as well.
Yeah, and did everyone? The general consensus was like Red Dwarf's cool, therefore Ben is cool.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but it meant that Ben isn't uncool, or Ben isn't necessarily a target today.
Today, what's he listening to on his Walkman? Though, get him after.
Yeah.
Cool. So, so nostalgia is clearly quite important to both of you. It shapes who you are. It's shaped who you have become as musicians and as writers, which is kind of what I'm trying to get out with this topic. So how does the things that you feel immense nostalgia for shape how you write music and how you've written music for Diamond Black today?
What a good question. I'm going to look at my notes. So I think the way you do it in a positive manner is to, a bit like what we talked about with the cup at the start, honouring your roots that gave you that identity and that inspiration in a way that's new and forward-thinking and of now. So you can make reference points to what you were inspired by when you were growing up in terms of the kind of music and the kind of maybe the guitar tones and the effects and things you use and the structures of the songs, whilst making sure you're not just creating something that sounds like it was from that exact year. And I think part of the way that you can avoid that is by collaborating with others. So the collaboration that we do within Diamond Black with the three band members and with Yanni is that we've all got so many different influences that they just through necessity, they create something new. Sometimes perhaps if we were to write something individually that was completely just the thing that we like, it might sound too much like our direct influences.
Ben Rock.
For example. Which is can be the case. If I sit down and write a song with just myself in mind, then and without any other influence, it can be a bit Ben Rock.
But it wouldn't be like, I'm sure if you both had the assignment to create write a song and record it and produce it that sounds exactly like it was created in Adam 1994, Ben 1986.
Yeah. You can do that.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You'd be able to do it, and people would be able to tell the difference if that was your assignment. But I don't think your natural way of just writing something that you want to write necessarily sounds like it's actually from then. I think it's still inspired by, but I don't know if it would actually be like straight out of there, because you've got all your other influences from since then as well.
Exactly. So you want it to be a tool for creativity rather than a restriction of, it doesn't sound 1986 enough, let's change this. It's more like, I want to make something that I like the sound of. I think that's always the best barometer, and that will come from your influences, and it will come from the other people with whom you're working.
I think you're like a pot of all ideas, and like everything you listen to, it does influence you because you can't write songs that out in a style that you've never heard. So over the years, the things you like go into your pool of songwriting ideas, because there are not many people that write music in a genre that they hate. So it's going to be the things you like that stick in with you and go along to influence your own writing. But you don't, but because it's a mismatch of all of the things you like, and it doesn't come out like any specific thing, and then you add your own flavour to it.
Yeah, I wonder what it must be like to be someone who, for a job, writes jingles, for example. Is that I suppose you'd have to just go, even though I don't necessarily like the style of music that I'm writing, I like the creative process. I like that there's no real stakes involved. I can actually have
something
freedom.
I hated for a job.
Well, also you get the freedom to go, there's no like long-term stakes for this of me progressing my identity as a musician. It's this is just music. And I like making music. And I've got the freedom to just make something kind of cheesy and fun because that's what this is required of this.
So that'd be like a fun exercise. And then people probably write their own music outside of their job,
Could you both do this for fun? Could you both write a jingle?
Oh, I could do that. That'd be fun. What's a product or service or... Maybe we should get the Bats to suggest a product or service and we can write a jingle for it.
It doesn't have to be a real one. It could be a fake one.
Yeah, make one,
But make one up, right? And then, like, if you both write a jingle and then we can play them on the next cast. Or not the next cast because we've got the gig.
Yeah, give us a few weeks.
Give them a couple of weeks. But yeah, that would be really cool. If you make up a product and service and the guys can choose which one they're going to write a jingle for. That I think.
Okay, we'll do a vote on what the best suggestion is, and then we'll.
You guys just walked into this, by the way.
That'd be fun.
But yeah, it's not competition. It's not. I'm not going to choose the best. I think they're both going to be really good. But I would like to. I'd love to see it. And Adam, you said you wanted a job writing jingle. It could be your way in.
I'm well up for it. Cool.
I think with stuff like that as well, it's a lot easier to be spontaneous, because there isn't that pressure on you to make it something that reflects your identity and as a musician. So say we wanted to write one about imaginary badgers, right? Then you could just go, okay, imaginary badgers. It's like, oh, okay, cool, I'm going to work with that, right? I don't have to go, oh, that's not really good enough, is it? It's like, okay, that's a starting point.
Cheesy.
And it's allowed to, that's it. It's allowed to sound cheesy. So therefore you're not going, you're not second guessing yourself.
It's meant to sound cheesy because people have to remember it. It has to stay. It's like auto glass repair, auto glass replace. It's got to stay in your head and annoy you for the rest of the day after you've heard it on the radio.
Yeah. So the only edit I'd probably make at this point to Imaginary Badgers is I'd give it more of a slightly mysterious, like, Imaginary Badgers, right? Ooh. So it's
I like that.
Are they real?
The last note it didn't resolve. It left it open.
That's it, because are they real? So yeah, I think sometimes it can be really fun just to be spontaneously creative like that, because as Adam said, it's cheesy. It's allowed to be cheesy, and you're not defining your musical identity by it. You're just going, this is a fun thing. This is quite joyful to just do that. And I think it would be quite a good job. There's a really intriguing concept, and I wonder what you guys think about this, which is in my gym, there's always the same 20 songs played for 2 months, and then they replace them with other 20 songs. And I said to one of the instructors there, and they're all just you can imagine real kind of
man, stuff like that.
Yeah, really inspire you. So they're always this very kind of quite generic mainstream pop R&B vibe. And I said to one of the trainers, I said, look, I'm not up with current music. Are these popular songs that get played on the radio? And he goes, no, this is just music that's been written to play in the gym.
Oh, right.
So it's not actually songs because they can't get the license, I guess, to play publicly, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So someone or some people have been said, write some really generic pop R&B songs to play in a gym. Okay, right. What would it be like to sit down and do that? Because it's
they're not
BPM,
about exercise.
Exercise BPM. It's
So maybe there is. Yeah. Maybe that's your starting point of it has to be between these BPMs.
Yeah. That's what I would do. I would do stuff that, because I listen when I'm in the gym. I listen to really hardcore trance.
On the spot.
Yeah, but I think maybe it's less faster than that. If you're talking, if it's R&B.
Yeah, you don't have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just thought
It's a good
if
place
you
to
were
start.
a music writer and producer, and you're like, right, I've got to write 5 songs today for the gym, that people are just going to like let flow by them. Is that an inspiring job as a musician to do? I mean, probably getting paid pretty well for it,
Yeah.
and maybe you just go into your own world and go like, I'm
You
just
get
going
paid
to
per
make
play,
this.
then it'll be good.
How many gyms are these these tracks lists in, and can you buy the CD in the
I
gym?
don't know if you can buy the CD. I don't know. Buy our
Sell it on
CD.
the-
They should sell it. They should sell it because then it would inspire you to like work out at home. Oh no, they don't want you to work at home.
But
then you won't go to the
as
gym.
well, that's true. That's a very good point. As a musician, you sit down, you've got that job to do. Are you thinking, "Oh, this is great," because I'm going to get to write some songs, or is it a little bit demotivating because you think, well, most people just go into the gym with their headphones anyway. This is just sort of on in the background on loop, and it's never going to make it outside of the gym. So I don't know. It's a weird
I
one
like being
because
challenged. I'd say that as a challenge.
yeah,
I like being set like homework to do something in a different style or different genre. That'd be fun.
You know what we're gonna do next week?
oh,
Gym songs with Diamond Black.
brilliant.
By the end of the year, we'll have a nice. If we do one a month, we'll have a nice like CD collection of all the Diamond Cast songs that you've made.
Could be
I think
pretty
that'd be really
good.
cool.
It
I know
could
you
be
guys are
pretty
really
cool.
busy, but
That'd be cool.
Pretty cool.
no, I think it's really good that you actually approach the gym people and ask them this question.
Well, I was interested. Because a lot of, even though I don't really like that genre of music, they were catchy. There were every song had a great hook.
Yeah.
So it was almost like you've written these great hooks and they're sort of wasted by the
I
fact
bet the
that
people
they
in the
just.
gym go crazy, like the people that work there, the staff, because everyone.
Oh, absolutely, because it's just
working
on
out,
loop.
it's headphones on, yeah.
Yeah.
Staff.
And it's only in the gym world as well, so it must be like being in one of those surreal, like, you know, dystopian movies or series where
Gym
they
world.
go to a place and only that stuff is there and they leave and it's like, oh, the
Gym
real
world.
world.
Yeah, and it's the same 20 songs for 2 months. So yeah.
Do you know what the lyrics are? Do you catch the lyrics? Because I feel like they missed a trick if they're writing specifically for the gym. Shouldn't it be like, like in the 90s or in the 80s where every like pop song was like, you can do it, like, what was it?
Yeah.
The, like,
The limit to do something.
yeah, exactly. Like stuff like that. Have they not missed a trick by not like using lyrics that are motivating to do with working out?
I don't know. They aren't. They're just these sort of generally lyrically. They seem to be just about relationships. That's what I can make out from what I'm
Don't
hearing.
quit, stuff like that.
Just sort of.
Maybe it's to
Don't
not
quit the
make
gym.
people twig that there's specific gym music. Because if people were like, hang on a minute, this is music about the gym, at the gym, they might feel disconcerted.
Cool.
Oh, I
Okay,
think we're running
should
out of time.
Yeah. Should we?
Right. That's all we've got
Finish
time
there.
for today.
that's fine.
But if
What's
you
the
would
game
like
for?
to hear a jingle performed by Adam and Ben, please write in the
Wait,
comments.
written by, I'm not performing it as well.
Written by and performed. Written by, performed, and recorded by Adam and Ben.
fucking
Please write down in the comments what that jingle should be for. Bonus points for it being a made up thing rather than a real company, because copyright and stuff. And then we'll see what happens. We'll see what we get from that. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Wicked.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks, see you later. Bye.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us what you're nostalgic about this week.
Bye.